So Fergus, if you just let me know when's ready. Okay, looks like we should begin. So perhaps when we start, we could just briefly say a bit about if we've done any meditation before, any experience, and what we might be hoping to get from this session. So perhaps I could begin to say I've been practicing meditation, mindfulness for about 10 years in a range of different practices, and I've been doing some teaching here at LSBU for the last year or so. And I guess I'm hoping to just get some calm into my day for this time that we have together. And welcome to share either by speaking or if you'd like to type in the text box as well.
I guess I can go next.
Thank you.
Basically, if I'm not starting right now, though I work, but there are some we are really overwhelmed with our workload and other reading stuff. So I guess this mindfulness session will help us for a timing how we can overcome those stressful events, and also like getting some tips and tricks how we can work out when we need a quick meditation or just to get a relief from work life and student life.
Thank you, Fergus. And the others, would you like to say what you'd like to get out from this session, or if you've had any experience before? Welcome to type that in as well. Okay, well, that's okay. Perhaps that idea of stress reduction and just knowing when we can get a bit of relief from the difficulties in student life. Of course, balancing everything is challenging, and maybe today we can just learn a couple of techniques to help to just bring a bit of calm into our life and how to reduce some of that stress. So I'll begin first by saying a bit about posture, about sitting. So I'd imagine we're all sat in a chair, but equally someone might be sat somewhere else. So I think of meditation as balance. So your posture, you want to be balanced between being comfortable, but not too comfortable that you're slouched and falling a bit to sleep. But then also that you want to be alert and sat, fairly upright, but not so alert that you're feeling a bit agitated. So just that balance between upright and comfortable. It's nice to have sort of your body in symmetry, so your head in the middle, your feet firmly on the ground if you're sat on a chair, and then your hands, I usually just have them flat on my legs. Some people have them clasped together. Whatever's comfortable and will mean that you're not kind of thinking about, oh, where's my body, where are my hands, when we do begin. And perhaps we can begin with just a 5-minute meditation, just to kind of calm ourselves down and bring our attention to our body, and we'll be focusing on the breath for the 2 meditations that we'll be doing today. So, oh great, here's a bit of response from Fatima, who says, I'm in my final year, so looking for jobs and loads of assignments going on as well. Hope this helped me break every day from anxiety and stress. So I think, as I said before, so this idea that we'll be just calming ourselves down will be helpful. Yes, so our first meditation will be to do with sort of gathering in a bit of concentration in our minds. And then the second meditation we'll use some of that concentration to kind of relax things and really bring about some of that reduction in anxiety and calm into ourselves. So as I said, the first one will be lasting 5 minutes, which might seem quite long to some of you, but hopefully it will be kind of a nice way to begin. So we'll take that posture that I mentioned just before, and closing our eyes, we'll begin with 3 really deep breaths in and out through our nose, just to really ground ourselves in our breath. So really deep breath in, filling up our entire lungs, and then all the way out. We'll do that 3 times. Deep breaths in and all the way out to really engage ourselves with our breath. And then to just allow your breath to settle down in whichever way is comfortable. And we'll start following our breath. Our attention will go all the way from the tips of our nose, following our breath on the in-breath, our attention to how it feels in the back of our throat, as our chest inflates and our bellies come out, and then all the way back down again as we follow the breath from the base of our lungs, all the way back out our throat, back through our nose and out again. And in this meditation, we'll be just following the breath from the tip of our nose all the way back on the inhalation and back on the exhalation. And the aim is to really follow that, to keep our attention on the breath. And inevitably, when our attention moves away from the breath, to gently bring it back to our breaths, and to just continue to breathe in whichever way is comfortable for us, in through our nose, out through our nose, and to just try to follow that. And then when our minds wander, to gently bring it back with a bit of a smile. Our minds are wandering off on this way or that way, because that's what it does, and we bring it back kindly. We'll try and put in lots of effort to really try and stay with the breath, whatever sensations we can experience. Some changes in temperature, the feeling of it going through our nose, the movement of our body. Really focus in on all the things that are happening there that we don't usually really notice. And every time our mind wanders, just gently bring it back to the breath. If it's wandered very far, then you can try taking one of those deep breaths like you did at the beginning of the meditation to really engage yourself back in the breath. A really deep, satisfying breath in and all the way out. And then just return your breath to maybe try and breathe in a way that keeps your attention. That might be deep breaths, might be quite shallow breaths, but trying to breathe in a way in and out through your nose that grabs your attention a bit more, where you can really focus and follow that breath. Really try to keep with it. And for the last couple of minutes, just continue to try and stick with our breath, to breathe in a way that feels most comfortable, and we can stay with the breath and just remember each time our mind wanders to whatever it might be, our assignments or lunch coming up or what happened on the weekend, to just gently bring ourselves back to the breath, remind ourselves, well, that's what our mind does at the moment, and try to find that spot in our breath where we can really follow it really closely, really aim to work on this concentration that we're building up. When you're ready to slowly open your eyes, relax your bodies and bring yourself back. And I see we have another person joining us and leaving. So would anybody like to say how that was? If you managed to kind of stick with your breath a bit, if it was very difficult, if your mind was wandering, how you might feel afterwards if you feel a little more focused, a little calmer. Feel free to write something in the chat box, or if you are happy to let me know in the microphone. Relaxing and a smiley face from Fatima. Good to hear. Any sort of difficulties or anything that you weren't sure about or thought was unusual maybe? Was really useful and helpful. I can understand it was long as I thought. It's funny, you know, when you're not looking at the clock, when you're sort of in your mind, time becomes very different. Sometimes it can feel like we've been sitting forever, and sometimes it can just go at the click of a finger. You know, the way that time works is very different when we're sort of looking internally. So in the spirit of that, maybe we can try to sit for a little longer, and we can have a bit of time, maybe a couple more minutes at the end, of real quiet, because it's a really rare opportunity that we have much quiet in our lives when we're all busy running around doing this, that, the other. Just to have maybe 3 or 4 minutes of pure quiet time, it can be a real gift actually, and perhaps we can sit for a bit longer this time. So I will again guide us through some of the meditation at the beginning, and this time we'll begin in the same way with the same 3 deep big breaths in and out through our nose, and again we'll be following the breath. This time we'll be using some of the concentration, some of that focus that we've got from the first meditation, and use that to generate some real calming feelings within our body and within our mind. We'll really focus in on that and hopefully help with some of that stress that Fergus mentioned, help with some of that anxiety that Fatima mentioned, and really help to bring a sense of calm to our day, away from some of the hustle and bustle. Of course, the thoughts are still going to be coming in, the stuff that happened yesterday, the stuff that's going to happen tomorrow, and that's perfectly natural and perfectly fine. It's not about, trying to meditate isn't about not thinking at all. It's about redirecting our minds in a gentle way into whatever focus it is. And for this afternoon, the focus is going to be bringing about a sense of calm for ourselves. So if we'd like to take that position again, where we're alert in our bodies, comfortable but not too comfortable, with our bodies a bit symmetrical, our feet back on the ground, and we'll shut our eyes. And again, we'll begin with 3 really deep breaths in and out through the nose. Really ground ourselves in that feeling of the breath. Ground ourselves in how it's feeling right now in our bodies. When we finish those 3 deep breaths, this time we'll find a place in our breath that really feels comfortable for our minds. Now that might be the tip of our nose, maybe our throat. For me, it's the chest area. Focusing there feels comfortable for me. For other people, it might be the movement of the chest, or it might be the belly moving up and down. Have a bit of an experiment with your attention and just find, well, what is the place that feels most comfortable for me at this time? And by comfortable, that can mean where your attention stays. It can also be perhaps the sensations that you're experiencing there, or ones where it feels a bit warm or soft or gentle, at ease or comfortable. It doesn't have to be a real effort to keep your mind in that position. And what we're going to do is try and change our way we're breathing, so that whichever area we're focusing on, we try and make that place more comfortable, more relaxing. That might mean taking big, deep breaths. For me, often it means taking more shallow breaths. The breaths you choose might be fast or slow, rough or smooth. But try and find that place. Try and find that way to breathe that it makes that place feel as comfortable as possible. Let's try and stay there. Let's try and find that breath to really calm our minds down and really calm our bodies down. And of course, our minds will wander off. Let's see if we can just stop things before they go too far off into whatever stories we're telling ourselves. And every time a thought's about to come, maybe take a deeper breath or a faster breath to re-engage yourself with it and come back to that part of the breath that we're really focusing in, part of the body that we're calming everything down. And of course, do it with a bit of a smile, because that's just what our minds do. It wanders off and we can bring it back. We can refocus things to try and generate this relaxing, calming focus. And what we're doing now is we're creating a comfortable home in our breath, so that later in the day, if things do get stressful, if things do get anxious, by going back to this part of the breath, maybe just taking a few deep breaths in and out, and focusing back in on this area, we can bring to mind some of that calm, some of that comfort that we've started to generate here. And it can be a place that you can go to, that you can return to, away from the worries and anxieties of the day and towards something a little more calming for you. So really try to breathe in a way that spreads this calm around this area that you're focusing on. If it's the tip of your nose, then spread it throughout the nose. If it's your chest, really try and feel that comfortable feeling in your chest, and likewise any other part that you're focusing in on. Try to build that home for yourself. And as I said, let's spend the last few minutes together in real quiet and just try to enjoy some of this calm that hopefully we've generated, or that bit of extra concentration, or just a bit of time away from the Monday afternoons that we all have, and to just spend it together and enjoy it, really. When we're ready to just slowly open our eyes, relax our bodies a bit, and gently bring ourselves back into wherever we are. So I really enjoyed that meditation. It was nice to be able to have a bit of relaxation this afternoon, and I wonder if anyone else wants to share how that was for them, if they found it helpful, how they're feeling now. Talk or put it in the text box if you'd like.
It was really great and relaxing.
Good. And I hope when I said about creating a kind of home in the breath, wherever you chose to focus in your body, that you can recall that feeling of relaxation at another point in the day by taking a deep breath in, maybe just closing your eyes briefly, and thereby you've created a kind of calming home there for yourself.
It was really calm and peaceful, to the point where you have to keep your eyes shut, and it was like, I don't know, it made me fall, made me go into sleep, But at the same time, I was just like thinking, and it was really mind-blowing for me. So yeah, yeah.
That's good to hear. And it's, you know, that you can easily fall to sleep in these situations. And some of the kind of concentration that we built up in the first meditation kind of helps to make sure that you can maintain that focus. Because, yeah, it can be so relaxing that, you know, you kind of drift off a bit. But maintaining that kind of bit of focus, which is just before sleep, but not kind of so focused, it can feel, you know, really calming. And I think the way that you described it, thank you. And I'll be running another session on Wednesday in person that you're welcome to attend, as well as I run a weekly mindfulness drop-in session that I can share the flyer for here, that of course you're also really welcome to attend, where we explore kind of different meditation techniques that can kind of help in a similar way. Did anybody else have any questions or thoughts? Then perhaps we'll end things. Oops, sorry.
You know, this meditation, what time during the day can we do this?
So different people would maybe practice at different times. For me, I'm a real morning person, so I like to sit right early in the morning to kind of set myself up for the day. Other people find, you know, at the end of the day, it can be quite a nice way to sort of unwind and really kind of let go of all the stuff that's happened in the day and find it helpful to relax before bedtime. I think, you know, if you are thinking of kind of building up a regular practice, it can be helpful to do it at the same time every day. But that's kind of up to you to kind of give a go and see what's right for you, because, you know, it's a very individual thing. Everyone's not the same, and if I say, oh, you know, you should do it in the morning, and you're really not a morning person, then, you know, you might be falling asleep. But likewise in the evening, I think for me, if I try that, I might be falling asleep a bit then. So, you know, a time of day when you have a bit of energy to be going forward with it, but also whatever feels right for you, really.
Okay.
I have a question. What is this time for meditation? Like, how long one person should do that meditation?
Well, some people might say, you know, the longer the better, because the more you kind of, the longer that you meditate for, then the deeper you can go and the more focused you can become. But it's difficult to say, oh, well, let's just do half an hour. It's something to kind of build up over time. But I'd say, you know, a good amount of time to start off with is 5 to 10 minutes, just like we've done today. But actually, you know, the second meditation, we were sitting for close to 15 minutes. So it's about finding what's right for you, but kind of the, you know, if you're trying to build it up, it's a bit like exercise, you know, that if you manage to sit for kind of 15 minutes or a bit longer, then that can kind of help you to really build up this feeling of calm, and it can kind of get stronger and stronger in that way. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. And thank you so much. Thanks. That session was really relaxing and helpful. And also, like, I got some new technique to do meditation as well. Like, you know, whenever for like, so if I have really short span of time, so I would know what I have to do or where I have to focus. So that's really helpful.
Excellent. Yeah. And the longer that you do it, the more you build up that sense of a home, of calm for yourself, and it can be a real great resource to be able to, a real great tool to be able to use when you might need to calm down a little bit. Right, so thank you for sharing this time with me today. Oh. Thank you, Fatima. Yeah, overthinking is a difficult thing, and it comes with practice. The more you practice, the more you bring your mind back to the breath, back to whatever the object of your meditation is, the easier it will become. And at the beginning, it can feel difficult. You know, the mind's spinning around thinking about all these different things. There are other things that you can do. You know, like when I said, or try taking a really deep breath in to bring your mind back to the breath, to kind of anchor on something a bit more. A bit stronger that you can focus on, or trying different kinds of meditation which might fit you better. You know, walking meditation is a great different kind of meditation that some people whose minds are particularly active, it can help to focus on the walking. So, you know, have a look up on YouTube a few different walking meditations, and maybe that can be something that can be really helpful. For me, I find that's a really helpful practice to do. So maybe those two thoughts could be helpful for you. Thank you, Fatima. I'm going to just put a link to a feedback, very brief feedback form. It'd be great if you could fill that in just for the service and just so that we can do more of these mindfulness sessions for students. It will really take you only a couple of minutes. That would be fantastic. But I'd just like to thank Ferdis for inviting me today, and hopefully if you can come along to the drop-in, that would be fantastic too, or perhaps the SU session on Wednesday too.
Thank you so much, Alexander. I'm really grateful for you to be agreeing on this session, and hopefully we will see you again on this mindfulness session events in the future. Thank you so much, and I'm going to stop the recording now.
Okay.